ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so we're back. You guys are going to get 2 episodes this week. This episode is going to be our monthly awareness episode. And just to put a trigger warning on this episode, it is going to be about suicide and suicide prevention. So it's definitely probably going to be one of our deepest and deeper, definitely our deepest episode to date. But we just think it's very important to talk about. And especially because this just impacted a community very close to our hometown, unfortunately. So we just think it's very something important to talk about, even though it's very uncomfortable to talk about. But like we said from the very beginning before we started this whole podcast, we just want to spread awareness and do as much as we can sitting behind a camera or behind an audio tape on phone. But yeah, I mean, I guess going into a little bit of what I just said about how it kind of hit close to home recently, there was a 15-year-old girl from a few towns over that unfortunately took her life probably like 2 weeks ago. And yeah, it's just really sad. And I just know from my perspective, I could not imagine what the family is going through right now.
Anybody's family really goes through when they go through this, when this happens.
It's something that is just so sudden, and you just don't know how that individual is feeling. And it's just really unfortunate and really sad and breaks my heart that a lot of these young kids that are now committing suicide are coming from bullying.
Yeah.
Which is just really sad and really breaks my heart. And also, like, I believe social media and phones is really tying into it, because these individuals who are the bullies can sit behind phones and just say whatever they want. Like, I know Aubrey Wyatt went big and viral from when she committed suicide, and hers was resulting from bullying on Snapchat. And like at that point, like, the parents are definitely going to feel guilty, but at that point there's nothing they can do because they don't know.
There's no way to stop it, because like I feel like when we grew up, if bullying was occurring, it was face to face.
Yeah.
Now with social media and screens and everything like that, you kind of can't. It's just inevitable to really stop. People can make fake profiles, comment on people's TikToks, Instagram accounts, Snapchat. Like, I know kids are young, so they just think, just like to add anybody on Snapchat, really, and they don't really know.
Not even that. Like, I just feel like kids don't understand the consequences, unfortunately, which is really sad, because suicide and these young individuals taking their life is becoming more like prevalent, and it's like happening all the time, which is really, really sad. And kids just still aren't learning from it.
No, and I feel like too, it's sad that these kids who are being the ones being bullied, like, they think that suicide is the only way to stop what they're feeling.
And we just want to preface that it is not.
No, it's not. There's so many different resources out there now, but I also do feel like even if it's not bullying, people with mental health issues that do take their lives, I feel like a lot of people put a stigma on people with mental health issues, depression, anxiety, all that type of stuff. But like in the end, like, we have been better as a world, I guess, with like getting the suicide hotline. There's so many different other resources you could reach out to. But even though we have that, the number of suicides we have in a year is still inclining significantly, which is sad, because I feel like everybody does put a stigma on mental health. Like, they just don't realize, like, trying to talk to somebody, but the other person doesn't just get where they're coming from. It's sad.
And like, kind of going off of what you said about like how there is these hotlines and everything, and I do think that there is a lot of like organizations and businesses that are doing a good job with getting people to talk about it, with getting it to be known, spreading knowledge about it. Like, I know Dance Moms did that one dance that was very popular about like the suicide hotline, where like they had the phone.
Yeah.
So I I am happy to know that people who do have platforms and people who do have a presence are trying to spread awareness, but I still just don't feel like it's enough, unfortunately.
No, I don't think it's enough either. And I think it comes from, too, like, the stigma
Yeah.
with mental health. And it's sad because just because somebody has depression, just because somebody is bipolar or schizophrenic doesn't make them different than anybody else. They're still a human being. They still are allowed to have valid feelings. And those valid feelings need to be heard, and it sucks when they just can't express them to people because people think they're crazy or they're weird or something like that. And in all honesty, their only choice is to take their own life because they aren't being heard.
Yeah, and like going off of that, like if you know somebody who does struggle with those mental illnesses,
Check up on them.
yeah, just it takes 2 seconds to just send a message like, hey, thinking about you, hope all is well.
Or like, hey, how are you doing today? Like, just wanted to say, like, just a simple, like, are you okay today? Like, how are you doing? Like, something just so simple.
And like I really think people don't do that enough because I think it's very overlooked. And not in like a bad way that people overlook it. People are just busy in their lives and they just start doing one thing, start doing another thing. But I think it's just overlooked. So I mean, I think we're gonna challenge you guys to at least after this is released, just reach out to 5 different people. It can be your best friend. It can be somebody you haven't talked to in years. It can be somebody who's you see like is a customer at your work. It can be anybody. We're just going to challenge you guys to reach out to 5 people and just ask them, just do a checkup because you never know what that innocent message could do
for somebody. So we have some facts. Where we go. So the age-adjusted suicide rate in 2024 was 14.21 per 100,000 individuals. So the age has gone down.
That's
to like 14-year-olds, basically.
Scary.
That is scary. In 2022, men died by suicide 3.85 times more than women. And it's sad. And I feel like the man-woman thing, it's like men are supposed to be strong. Men are supposed to be like the protectors, like all that stuff. But like in the end, men still have feelings.
Yeah, and
men still feel things. Men still suffer from depression, anxiety, all that other stuff.
And like with like that stigma you just said, I feel like that puts a lot of weight on their shoulders. Which I think is why the male statistic is so much higher, is because they're left to carry all that weight, which I mean, we are in 2024. At this point, everybody is equal. Like it shouldn't be a sex thing. If you're a male, you need to do this. If you're a female, you need to do that. Like there shouldn't be no sex barrier or like
and especially about having feelings. Like everybody has feelings. Everybody can feel how they want to feel. It's not a crime to feel sad if you're a man. It's not a crime to be angry if you're a man. It's not a crime to be frustrated or something like that. Like just because that person's a male doesn't make them any different than a woman feeling those feelings. And I feel like that's like a big thing, like when it comes to men and women, like territory of like mental health and all that stuff. White males accounted for 68.46% of suicide deaths in 2022. In 2022, firearms accounted for 54.6.
That's half.
54.64% of all suicide deaths. That is half. 94% of adults in the U.S. surveyed in the U.S. think suicide can be prevented, which I agree.
Yes, I agree with that. I think that is something like, I mean, we touched on it, but like you can call or text 988, which is like the crisis helpline. Somebody will always be on the other side of the phone if you don't feel comfortable reaching out to somebody you personally know. They're there. That's their job. And sometimes if you are in a certain state of mind and feeling those depressed feelings and that it's the end of the world, like that's their job. They're there to help you and to do whatever they can to save your life, because in the end, you matter and you're very important and you deserve to be here.
Agreed. Suicide is the 11th leading cause of death in the United States. In 2022, 4,976,000 Americans died by suicide. In 2022, there was an estimated 1.6 million suicide attempts. That's insane.
I can't. I mean, we can't really talk a lot on this because we've never had to experience it or experience a family member that went through it.
Yeah.
So we are very grateful in that aspect. But like we said, we're just here to spread awareness and to get to talk about these hard topics. That's all we're trying to do in the end. Hopefully one person can just listen to this and hopefully it makes their day better. And if somebody is having those thoughts, I mean, I know it's probably very uncomfortable to reach out to us, but just reach out to that hotline. Reach out to somebody because you matter. We want you here. I'm sure your family wants you here. Your friends want you here. And it's not worth it.
And just think, there's this rough time in your life. It will pass. It always does pass. You just gotta be strong. You gotta talk to somebody. You gotta express those feelings, because expressing those feelings is the only way to actually make you feel better. In some cases, you just need to. We need you here. At the end of the day, somebody needs you here.
And if you feel like your friends suck, we'll be your friends.
Yeah.
We'll hang out with you.
We'll hang out with you.
I mean, if it saves your life, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know this episode was a little shorter than the normal ones. But like we said, we're going to do this once a month, just trying to spread awareness. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. This was a little bit of a duller
of our
episode.
Podcasts. Yes.
But that's what we said we're going to do, so we're going to stick to it. So thank you guys for listening. Make sure to follow us on everything. Share this, please. Help us spread awareness.
Yes.
And yeah, we love you.
Love you.
Ladies and gentlemen.